And introduce our speaker, Mr. Burgess Owens. Burgess spent his childhood growing up in the Deep South during a period when the barriers of segregation were being torn down. He was the third black American to be offered a football scholarship at the University of Miami, where he earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in biology and chemistry, and simultaneously gained national recognition as the first team All-American. During his college career, Burgess was named to Who's Who among college students in American universities and colleges. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame of Outstanding College Athletes of America and later to the University of Miami's Hall of Fame and the Orange Bowl Ring of Honor. Following college, the New York Jets chose Burgess in the NFL's first round as the draft's first defensive back and the 13th overall pick. Later that year, he was selected as the Jets' Rookie of the Year and to the NFL's All-Rookie team. Entering his 7th season, he was traded to the Oakland Raiders, where he led the Raiders' defensive squad in tackles during their championship season in the 1981 Super Bowl game. In his final season, in 1982, Burgess led the Raiders team in interceptions and was selected as the first alternate in the NFL All-Pro team. Since retiring from the NFL, Burgess has been involved in corporate and entrepreneurial endeavors. As a black conservative, he has traveled throughout the country speaking about the intrinsic principles of freedom that underlie the foundations of our American culture. Burgess believes that the Judeo-Christian values, the message that will pull our nation back from the dark and evil abyss of socialism, can be found there. He's a best-selling author, a frequent contributor to the Fox News channel, and has written articles for media outlets that include the Fox News Opinion, Breitbart, and WorldNet Daily. Please join me in welcoming Burgess Owens.
Let me do this. I'm going to give you a little bit of history about evil, and that's Karl Marx. I'm going to give you a little bit of history, a little inspiration from my great-great-grandfather who came here in the belly of a slave ship. And I'm going to give you a gift from the black community who understood what it was to live the American way before socialism and Marxism turned our community around. And I'm going to actually wrap up with what I think your purpose is. It's not an accident that you're sitting here, that you have the parents you have, that you live in the country you live in, the influence you've had and the fight you've had to take on so far to stand out with all the leftist messaging that's going on around you. You're very, very special. So I'm going to make sure that you understand that you need to take advantage of this opportunity, continue to gain the courage, the education, and faith to stand for our country and make a difference. We are truly in perilous times. We're fighting for the heart and soul of our nation. The Judeo-Christian values that's given us the opportunity to be the freest country in the history of mankind is under attack. It is not the obvious. It's not like generations of past where we knew the enemy was a different uniform or spoke a different language, or like the Islamic the radical Islamics tell us that they hate us. We're dealing with people who live here in America that hate American, that hate our culture. And because they do not believe in a God, they'll do anything to win their war. There's something that President Lincoln said way back when, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it. If ever America should fall to the enemy, it will not be to any enemy from without, but an enemy from within. That enemy from within is the evil of socialism, Marxism, and atheism. And you just saw a few minutes ago, the last hour, the results of that throughout the history of mankind. When you take empathy and love of people away, people will do anything to get their power. So what is a weapon? Your weapon very simply is going to be history. You're going to learn your history, because that's been taken away from many of us. And we'll talk about that a little bit. You're going to learn how to have critical thinking skills. Very, very important, because we can't think. Somebody else will think for you. And there are people that are actually purposely keeping our young people dumb and ignorant. You're also going to learn the author of freedom, which is God. And you're going to learn to have the faith and the courage to stand for him. And we cannot be ashamed to stand up for what has made our country so unique, it started from the very beginning from people who had a faith. There's a God in heaven who can actually give us a place of freedom to speak, to worship, to grow, to dream, all the things that we kind of take for granted.